Are you tired of being almost there, almost successful, almost ready, almost the person you always said you would be? You have worked hard. You have read the books. You have watched the videos. You have made the plans. And yet here you are, still waiting, still wondering, still asking yourself, why not me? Today, I am not going to tell you that everything is fine. I am not going to say you just need to believe more, or try harder, or wait a little longer. That is not what this lesson is about. This lesson is for English learners who are ready to hear the truth. Because the truth is what nobody around you is brave enough to say. Your friends won't say it. Your family won't say it. The internet will sell you another course instead of saying it. But today, you are going to hear it. All of it. Uncomfortable truths set you free in ways that comfortable lies never can. In this lesson, we are going to look at 6 brutal reasons why most people never reach the life they want. Not bad luck, not the economy, not the wrong country or the wrong family or the wrong timing. 6 reasons that live inside you right now, waiting for you to finally see them. You did not come here for easy. You came here for real. If you are serious about changing your life, subscribe right now, because what is coming next is exactly what you have been missing. Now, are you ready? Good. Because we are starting with the hardest truth of all. You have a dream. Maybe it is financial freedom. Perhaps it is building something of your own. Maybe it is simply waking up and not feeling trapped by the same day repeating itself over and over. You can see it clearly in your mind. You know what it looks like. You know how it feels. But between where you are and where you want to be, there is a gap. And that gap has been there for 1 year, 2 years, maybe 5, maybe longer. Here is what most people do with that gap. They blame it on something outside themselves. The economy, the timing, the people who had advantages they did not have. And every time they explain the gap that way, the gap stays exactly the same size. Because the gap is not about luck. The gap is not about resources. The gap is not about who you know or where you were born. The gap is about what you are not willing to see yet. Today that changes. Today you see it. 6 truths. 6 uncomfortable, necessary, life-changing truths. Most people hear things like this and nod their heads and then go back to their regular life. But a small number of people, when they hear the truth, something shifts. Something inside them moves, and they never go back to the same patterns again. You are going to decide by the end of this lesson which kind of person you are. Truth 1. You are choosing comfort. There is a woman named Sarah. She has worked in the same office for 8 years. Same desk, same hours, same salary that never quite feels like enough. Every year, Sarah tells herself the same thing. If her manager wasn't so difficult, she would have been promoted already. If the company paid better, she would have saved more money. If she had grown up with more opportunities, her life would look different by now. Sarah is not lazy. She works hard. She shows up every single day. But for 8 years, nothing has changed. And it will not change. Not because of her manager, not because of the company, but because of one quiet habit that Sarah has never noticed. Every time something goes wrong, Sarah looks outside herself for the reason. And here's what most people miss. That habit, the habit of blame, feels like honesty. It feels like you are seeing the situation clearly. But it is not honesty. It is protection. It is your mind keeping you safe from a harder question. The harder question is this: what did I choose that brought me here? Because here is the truth about comfort. Comfort is not just your sofa on a Sunday afternoon. Comfort is every decision you made to avoid discomfort, the conversation you did not have, the risk you did not take, the version of yourself you did not push toward because staying the same felt safer than growing. David Goggins grew up in a house full of fear and pain. By his mid-20s, he weighed 300 pounds. He had failed military entrance exams. He had every legitimate reason to say the world had been unfair to him, and he would have been right. But Goggins made a decision that most people never make. He stopped asking why the world was hard and started asking what he was going to do about it. Every single day, in the cold, in the dark, when no one was watching and nothing felt good. That is not a story about talent. That is a story about a choice. A weak mindset asks, why is this happening to me? A strong mindset asks, what can I do about it? Both people face hard things. Both people have real problems. The difference is the question they ask when the problem arrives. You are not stuck because the world has been unfair. Maybe it has been. That is real. But unfair and unchangeable are two very different words, and you have been treating them like they are the same. Every time you blame something outside you, you give away your power to change. Sarah is still at that desk, not because she had to be, but because blame felt more comfortable than accountability. And comfortable in the end is the most expensive thing you will ever choose. Truth 2. Your story is lying to you. Let me ask you something. What do you say to yourself when you fail at something? Not out loud, not to other people, but inside, in the quiet voice that only you can hear. Do you say, that was hard, but I can learn from this? Or do you say, this is just who I am? I was never good at this. I never had what it takes. Most people have been telling themselves the same story for so long that they have stopped noticing it is a story. They think it is just reality, but it is not reality. It is a script written years ago, often by someone else, often during a time when you were too young to question it. Pause for 1 second. Think about the last time you stopped yourself from trying something, not because you lacked the skill, not because the opportunity was not there, but because something inside you whispered that is not for someone like me. Where did that voice come from? When did you first decide that you were the kind of person who doesn't succeed at things like that? And here is what brain science tells us. Your brain is not fixed. It rewires itself based on what you repeatedly think, feel, and do. If you spend 10 years telling yourself you are not smart enough, not disciplined enough, not lucky enough, your brain builds pathways that make that story feel true. It becomes the lens through which you see every new opportunity, every challenge, every door. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. Before Jim Carrey was one of the most famous comedians in the world, he was a teenager sleeping in a van with his family. They had lost their house. His father had lost his job. There was no safety net, no plan, nothing that looked like a future. But Carrey did something unusual. He wrote himself a check for $10 million. He dated it 10 years in the future. He wrote in the memo line, for acting services rendered. And he carried that check in his wallet every single day. Was that delusional? Maybe. His family had nothing. The entertainment industry was brutal. But Carrey was not managing the odds. He was managing his identity. He was telling himself every single day, this is the kind of person I am. Not the kind of person who hopes. The kind of person who has already decided. 10 years later, just before that date on the check, he was paid $10 million for his role in Dumb and Dumber. The check did not make that happen. The check was a symbol. What made it happen was the identity he chose and then lived inside day after day in the years of rejection and failure and not yet that came before. If you are carrying the wrong story about yourself, no amount of hard work will take you where you want to go. Because you will find a way, unconsciously, to stay consistent with what you believe you deserve. The good news is this: the story can change. Not quickly, not with one video, but with consistent, daily, deliberate choices to act like the person you want to become before you feel like that person. Truth 3. Motivation is a lie. You are waiting to feel ready. You are waiting for the right morning, the right energy, the right moment when everything lines up and you finally feel motivated enough to start or to continue or to push through. That moment is not coming. Not because something is wrong with you, not because you are fundamentally different from people who succeed, but because motivation was never supposed to be the engine. Motivation is the spark. It gets the fire started, but sparks do not keep fires burning. Fuel does. Habit does. Identity does. Hear me on this. The people you admire, the ones who wake up early, who train hard, who build businesses, who write books, who show up every day without fail, they do not feel more motivated than you. They feel the same resistance you feel, the same tiredness, the same voice that says, not today, maybe tomorrow. The difference is they stopped negotiating with that voice. He woke up, he moved, he worked. That is how James Clear describes the foundation of every lasting change. Not inspiration, not a breakthrough moment. A decision made once at the level of identity that this is what I do now. And then doing it again the next day, and the day after that, especially on the days when nothing inside you wants to. Clear calls this identity-based habits. Most people set goals and then chase them the way you chase a bus that is already pulling away, running, hoping exhausted. But the people who actually change do something different. They stop asking what they want to achieve and start asking who they want to become. Not, I want to run a marathon. I am a runner. Not, I want to save money. I am someone who lives below my means. The goal becomes the natural result of the identity, not the desperate target they are sprinting toward. Quitters change their goals when things get hard. Committed people change themselves. Success is not built in the moments you feel motivated. It is built in the moments you don't. The most dangerous week in any new habit is not week 1. Week 1, you have excitement, you have novelty. The most dangerous week is week 3, week 4. The week when it is no longer new, when results are not yet visible, when the only reason to continue is because you decided you were going to. Most people quit in that week. They call it bad timing. They call it needing to do more research first. It is none of those things. It is the gap between who they say they want to be and who they are willing to be on a Tuesday morning when nobody is watching and nothing feels good. Close that gap. Not with motivation, with decision, with showing up anyway. Truth 4. Your attention is being stolen. Picture this. You wake up in the morning. Before your feet touch the floor, before you have said a single word, before you have had one clear thought about your own life and your own goals, your hand reaches for your phone. You open it, and for the next 20, 30, maybe 45 minutes, you consume news, other people's opinions, other people's highlight reels, advertisements for things you do not need, arguments between strangers about things that will not matter next week. And then you put the phone down and wonder why you feel tired before the day has even started. Think about this. Every major technology company in the world, every social media platform, every news app, every streaming service has spent billions of dollars on one single problem. How do we keep this person's attention for as long as possible? They are not trying to help you. They are harvesting you. You are the product. And the more of it they take, the less of it you have for the things that actually build your life. Kobe Bryant used to wake up at 4 in the morning to train. Not because he hated sleep, because he understood something that most people never do. While his competitors were sleeping 1 extra hour, he was getting 1 extra hour of work. Over a career that adds up to thousands of hours that nobody else had. Not because he was more talented, because he protected his time and his focus like they were the most valuable things he owned. And they were. Because they are. Your phone is not your enemy. Your inability to put it down is. Consumers scroll for 2 hours. Builders work for 2 hours. Both people had the same 2 hours. Both people made a choice about what to do with them. Every single day, those choices compound, quietly, invisibly, until one day you look up and the person who was building is somewhere completely different from the person who was scrolling. That day comes for everyone. The only question is, which side of that gap you are standing on when it arrives. If this lesson is hitting you, hit subscribe right now. There is more coming and you do not want to miss it. Now here is the part nobody wants to admit. The phone is the symptom. The real problem is that distraction feels like rest. But real rest, sleep, silence, movement, time in nature, leaves you feeling more capable than before. Distraction does not restore you. It drains you while making you feel like you are relaxing. You finish 2 hours of scrolling and you feel worse than when you started, but you do not quite know why. Your attention is your most limited resource, not money, not time, attention. Because time without attention is just hours passing. Money without attention is just numbers on a screen. Everything you want to build requires your focused, sustained, undistracted attention. And right now, someone else is using it. Take it back. Truth 5. You are preparing to prepare. There is a man named Marcus. He is 32 years old. He has a business idea that he has been developing for 4 years. He has 3 notebooks full of plans: market research, competitor analysis, brand names, logo sketches, a pricing strategy, a 5-year financial projection written in careful handwriting on graph paper. He has read 14 books on entrepreneurship. He has watched hundreds of hours of videos. He has attended 2 online courses. He has a folder on his laptop called Launch Plan Final V7. He has never registered the business. Not one sale has been made. He has never sent one email to one potential customer. Marcus is one of the most hard-working people you will ever meet, as long as the work does not require him to actually begin. Now think about this. Marcus calls it getting ready. He calls it making sure he does everything right. He calls it not wanting to fail before he has all the information he needs. But here is what Marcus is really doing. He is using preparation as protection. Every hour spent planning is an hour he does not have to spend failing. And failing is the thing he is most afraid of. Not the business failing, him failing. Being seen trying and not making it. So the notebooks keep growing, the folder keeps getting new versions, and the business stays safely inside Marcus's head, where it cannot be judged, where it cannot disappoint him, where it will always be perfect, because it has never had to face reality. If your dreams scare you, if your goals feel close enough to reach but far enough to stay safe, if the thought of starting right now fills you with reasons why, it is not quite the right time yet, then you are Marcus. And you already know it. Preparation without action is just a well-organized dream. One version of learning genuinely builds you. Reading that gives you a real skill. Research that uncovers a real insight. Planning that maps a real path. That kind of preparation is valuable. And then there is the other kind. The kind that looks like growth from the outside, but feels like hiding from the inside. The kind where you always need one more book, one more course, one more month before you feel ready enough to start. You will never feel completely ready. The people who built the things you admire did not feel ready when they started. They felt scared, underprepared, uncertain. They started anyway. Because starting is the only thing that turns preparation into something real. The market does not care about your notebook. The world responds to action, only action. Marcus is still preparing. He started a new notebook last month, light glue cover, very organized. The business is still in his head. Don't be Marcus. Truth 6. Your circle is your ceilings. Think about the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not the people you wish you spent time with, not the people you follow online. The 5 people whose voices you actually hear most often. The people you eat with, talk with, share your problems with, laugh with. Now think carefully. Are those people building something? Are they pushing themselves? Are they honest with you when you are making excuses? Do they talk about ideas about growth, about what they are working toward? Or do they mostly talk about other people, about problems, about why things are hard and unlikely to change? They are probably good people. They probably care about you. But caring about someone and helping them grow are 2 completely different things. And sometimes the people who care about you the most are also the people who, without meaning to, keep you the most comfortable, the most unchallenged, the most exactly where you already are. Here's the truth. You become the average of the people closest to you. Not in some poetic way, in a real, measurable, daily way. Their habits become your normal. Their ceiling becomes your ceiling. Their idea of what is possible becomes the invisible boundary of what you allow yourself to try. He looked around. He listened. He chose differently. That is the pattern you find in almost every person who changed their life significantly. At some point, they stopped spending their most important hours with people who were not going where they wanted to go. Show me your 5 closest people, and I will show you your future. Some people hear this and immediately think of names. People they have stayed close to out of habit, out of loyalty, out of not wanting to seem like they have changed. But staying close when it costs you your growth every single day is also a loss. A slower one, a quieter one, but just as real. You do not have to cut people out of your life, but you do have to be intentional about who gets your best hours, your best energy, your deepest conversations. Who challenges you to think bigger? Who calls you out when you are making excuses? Who is already living something close to the life you want to build? Find those people, move toward them. Spend more mornings with them, more evenings with them, more of the hours that actually shape who you are becoming. Because growth happens in proximity. It happens in the conversations that raise your standard. It happens when the people around you make your current excuses feel embarrassing rather than reasonable. Your circle is not just your social life, it is your environment. And you cannot grow beyond your environment without first changing it. The truth is uncomfortable, but the truth will set you free. Now we come to the hardest part. Not because this truth is more complicated than the others, it is actually the simplest one. But simple is not the same as easy. And this one, when you really let it land, is the one that tends to hurt the most. Because this one is about you. Not a woman named Sarah, not a man named Marcus, not David Goggins or Kobe Bryant or anyone else whose story you can admire from a comfortable distance. You. You have been watching videos like this one for months, maybe years. You have felt the motivation rise inside you like a wave. You have taken notes. You have saved the video. You have sent it to a friend. You have said, "This time it is different." And then the wave passed, and you went back. Not to the bad version of yourself, just to the comfortable version. The version that knows all the right things to say about growth and discipline and mindset, but has not yet decided to actually live them. Let me make this simple. 99% of people will finish this video and feel inspired for a few hours. They will genuinely mean it when they tell themselves that things are going to change. And then, slowly, quietly, without drama, they will drift back to exactly where they started. 1% will do something different. Not because they are smarter, not because they had an easier life or better circumstances or more time, because they will take one real action before the feeling fades. 1. Not a plan, not a new notebook. One real, visible, concrete action in the direction of the life they say they want. Here is the feeling you are waiting for. The feeling of certainty, the feeling of readiness, the feeling that it is finally the right time. That feeling is a lie your comfort is telling you to keep you where you are. You already know what you need to do. You have always known. What you need is to stop pretending you don't know. Stop pretending the problem is outside you. Stop pretending you are almost ready. Stop pretending your circle is fine. Your habits are fine. Your identity is fine. Your relationship with distraction is fine. You know it is not fine. That is why you are still here watching this at this exact moment in your life. That is a beginning, but only if you let it be. That pressure in your chest right now is not a problem. That pressure is the start of something. The 99% will breathe it out and move on. What will you do? You have just heard 6 truths about why most people never build the life they are capable of building. The first, you are choosing comfort over growth and calling it bad luck. The second, you are living inside a story about yourself that was written a long time ago and you have never questioned whether it is still true. The third, you are waiting for motivation that will never arrive in the form you are expecting, and the waiting itself is the trap. The fourth, your attention, the most valuable thing you own, is being taken from you every single day, and you are letting it happen. The fifth, you are preparing to prepare. The notebooks are full. The plans are beautiful. The starting date keeps moving forward. These 6, the people closest to you, have set a ceiling above your head, and you have never decided whether you want to live under it. None of these are easy. All of them are yours to do something about. Take one action today, not a plan, not a conversation about taking action. One real, concrete step toward the life you keep describing but have not yet started building. Because here is what I know about you. You did not watch this far because you are satisfied with where you are. You watched this far because something in you already knows that more is possible. That voice is telling you the truth. The truth is uncomfortable, but the truth will set you free. Remember that. Not as a phrase, as a decision you make every morning when the comfortable choice and the right choice are standing in front of you. If you want to improve your English while you grow your mind, keep listening to lessons like this one every day. Which of these 6 truths hit you the hardest? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. Thank you for being here. I will see you in the next lesson.